Hi everyone, Jasmine here, writer of Raw Design, and welcome to my first YouTube video. Alright, as a disclaimer, first up I'd like to note that this isn't my image, this is actually one from lynda.com. Some first things we want to note when retouching is there are 3 significant tools we can use: the spot healing brush, the healing brush, and the cloning tool. Personally, I use the spot healing tool over the healing tool. As the healing tool, you have to select what areas you want the computer to pick up manually, whereas the spot healing tool does it for you. So when you're using the spot healing tool, make sure you've got content aware and sample all layers selected. This just helps the computer accurately pick up the tonal values of the skin tone. Now you'll notice that I work on a background layer, and this is completely fine if you're confident enough, but this is also very destructive. So you can create a new layer and work on that layer, which also gives you the option to later on turn it off and on, allowing you to see the differences and what you've done. This also helps when you make a mistake and you want to correct it or go back, whereas if you're working on the background layer, it doesn't allow you to do so. I'm just going through with the spot healing brush tool, and I'm just clicking wherever the blemishes are, and you want to make sure that the brush isn't too big, as you really start to notice it. The bigger the brush, the bigger the mess, and you can see the slight indent here, and that's because the brush was too big. So I've just Ctrl-Z that and made my brush even smaller than the blemish, which means I can work around it, and you actually can also drag the tool and draw around it. But because her blemishes are small enough, I'm able to just click around it. The idea behind a good retouch is to leave the permanent blemishes like moles and freckles and remove the temporary ones that obviously aren't there forever on a person and isn't their true face. It is all about personal preference to the photographer or graphic designer, or yourself if you are editing yourself. So if you are hiring a photographer, do look at their work or their portfolio to get an idea of how much they actually do. Some tough areas like this one may need the use of a cloning tool. However, if you can get away with retouching with the spot healing tool, it's better off to do so, as because it is content aware, it does have a more realistic effect, but it might mean you have to go in a few times. If you're a bit finicky, you might notice a cotton ball hanging from her hat, and to fix this, obviously the spot healing brush won't work because of the different textures. To tidy this up, we're going to use the cloning tool. You need to make sure it's on normal and at 100%, and you will also need to get a sample of what you want to replace it with by holding down the Alt key. The brush also needs to be the same size as the imperfection, so it's not too noticeable. So you can see once we've zoomed out, this isn't too noticeable at all. So the reason I don't use the cloning tool for skin retouching is because you have to use a sample from somewhere else, and because skin has such a different range of tonal values, it's almost impossible to get the same tonal value you want to replace the blemish with. If you are working on the background layer, you can refer to the History panel if you do make a mistake. This panel records everything you have done, allowing you to trace back your steps. But the issue with using this panel is if you want to delete further back than all your other steps, it's going to delete all your steps before the step you wanted to delete. So this means if you made a mistake 80 clicks ago, it's going to delete everything before those 80 clicks. Another option, and a better option I use, is the lasso tool, where you surround the area that you would like to retrace your steps. Actually go to the edit menu, fill, and then fill it with history, and make sure the blending is normal, and it'll actually fill with all of your history. And essentially revert that area of the image to the original. And here is the final result. Thanks for watching. and subscribe for more.